So this is my diagram for the Centipede game. We've got my managers here at the top. These are my scenes. This is my blaster, and these are all of the critters, centipede, and the mushroom, and then the field is over here. So we're going to start off with the game controller. So the game controller keeps track of how many centipede parts are left, what wave you're on. It keeps track of uh, it creates the field and keeps track if there's already a field or not. And then it can create two different types of fields, one for the normal game and one for attractor mode. So when it creates the splash field, it creates the field, and then it also creates the HUD that goes on top of that field, so that the HUD has the ability to overlay mushrooms that are already in that field, so that the letters are above the mushrooms. And then it also has the ability to create waves, so it can spawn all the things for the waves, and it also has the ability to destroy everything that's active, so that in between waves or when the player dies, everything that's on screen gets destroyed. And it also has the ability to read the wave file, and then it puts it all into the structure that I created. So the structure keeps track of the length, the speed of the centipede. It keeps track of if there's a flea or not. It keeps track of how many mushrooms the flea needs to trigger. The scorpion, yes or no. It has the ability to know how many solo heads there will be, and the spider's speed. So that is connected to the field because it creates this field. The field is an array called map of mushrooms, and then it also keeps track of it also takes how many mushrooms it should make at the beginning of the game. So it creates 40 mushrooms at the beginning of the game, puts them all into that array. So the field has the ability to add mushrooms and add tiles, which are what goes behind the letters in the attractor mode. It also has the ability to check the field for different things. So it can check for the centipede if there's anything in front of it, so it knows if it should turn or not. It can check the player area, so it can tell how many mushrooms are there, so it can tell the flea if it needs to go down or not. It can destroy mushrooms, and then it can also tell the flea if there already is a mushroom, we're trying to put one so that I don't get mushrooms on top of each other. So I'll start off with what's connected to that. We've got the mushroom. So the mushroom is a game object. It has a factory, just like the tile does. It has a factory, and all it can do really is it has health and all that, but it also knows if it's poisoned, so that the centipede can hit it and move to the bottom of the screen. And then it also can get fixed, so the field in between when it needs to fix all the mushrooms can call the mushroom and tell it to fix itself, so that it can fix itself back to full health. But then I also have the tile, which is a base subclass of mushroom, which is basically just a simple black box that goes behind the letters in the attractor mode, so that it can be in the field, so that the centipede will turn, and so I put collision with bullets so that the bullets can't shoot through the letters. In addition to that, since they're in the field, the flea won't put mushrooms on top of the letters, and they'll interact correctly with all the different animals, critters, not animals. So then if we move over here to the left, we have the centipede. So the centipede is one of my strategy patterns. So we have the manister, and then we have the centipede, which is the head, and the centipede body. So how my centipede works is I have these functions called behind me. So when I create a centipede, I call centipede head, the centipede head one, which is this one, and it creates how many bodies I want behind it. So when I create the head, it creates a body, and the body behind it knows the head knows that there's a body behind it, but the body doesn't know what's in front of it. So I created a function called behind me. So every time I create a body, it calls back to the head since it has a pointer to the head, but the head doesn't have a pointer to the body, it calls to the head with a pointer to it to create a pointer back to it, so that I have a pointer in both directions, so I can access everything from both the two body parts. So then it keeps going down the line. It does this all the way down the centipede, so all the pieces are connected. And then the Centipede Master has the create new head function, so that if you destroy a body or a head, it has the ability to go back and create a head behind it, so when you split the centipede, it can split properly. I also have move cent, which is just the function that is called an update that moves the centipede. It moves the centipede head and the bodies. It's just the simple, just kind of move forward in between steps. And then tell me is what the body calls to what's ever in front of it. So if it's the one right behind the head, it calls the head to figure out what its last move was, so that that body knows where to go, and then the body behind that body will tell me, so that it can figure out where it needs to go next as well. So my centipede has a pointer to the field as well, so that it can call the centipede check field, so it can figure out when it needs to turn. It also has the ability to check where it is in the field, so that it knows if it's in the player area, so it knows when to go up and down. It also has the turn check, which when it needs to turn, I can call that to turn the centipede, and then I can also set that to just continuously turn, so when it hits a poison mushroom, it'll just turn until it's the bottom of the screen. And they both have factories, the head and the body both have factories. So next we have the flea. So the flea has a factory. It has a pointer to the field, so that it can call and figure out if there's a mushroom where it's trying to place a mushroom, and so it can figure out if it needs to go down because there's not enough mushrooms in the player area. So it has the ability to add a mushroom, which just calls the add mushroom in the field. It calls the flea check, and then if there's not a mushroom there, it will call the add mushroom in the field to add a mushroom there. It also knows how many mushrooms there need to be in the play area, so that it goes by how many are in the dock and not just by a set amount. Next to that is the scorpion, which also has a factory. The only main method it has is respawn, so when it goes across, it waits a certain amount of time and then it respawns at a different area than last time. On the screen, same thing goes with the spider. It has next move though, which basically keeps track of what move you're on. So if you go up on an angle and you need to go down before you decide if you're going to go up and down or down and up and then on another angle or not. So then it also has respawn, so that when it goes off the screen or when it dies, it can spawn from a different area. And it also has a factory. So that would be everything down that is connected to the game controller. So now we're going to move over here, and we're going to look at my other managers. So over here we've got the points manager, the high score manager, and the sound manager. So my point manager has an array of points, so that if I have two players, I can have a point score for player 1 and a point score for player 2. Right now, since there's only one player, it just adds to player 1's points. But it has all of the functions to add points. So I have my mushroom and my scorpion and my spider and my flea, so that if I want to change the amount of points you get for destroying different things, you just have to go to the points manager. You don't have to go digging through all the different code. It also has a function called I'm your HUD, which when I get down to HUD writing, I'll talk more about. So next we have the high score manager, which has the ability to read the high score text sheet, and it puts all those scores, so it uses the read high scores, and it puts all those scores into another structure that I made, which just has the name and the points, so that I can keep track of those, so that if I get a new high score, I can re-put those in with the new high score and kick out the ones that are too low. So I can write to that file with the high score manager, and then I can get the high score so that I can place it at the top of the game. Plus, in attractor mode, I can read it so that I can put those high scores from the text file into the game where they should be on in the HUD. Next, we have the sound manager, which has all of our different sounds for all the different things that can happen. And then it also has a function for the home button, and then it has a play for everything and a mute and an unmute. So the home button is just checking if you've hit home to mute the game or to unmute the game, depending on if it's muted or not. And then it has all of its play sounds, so that I can play the sounds when they need to be played based on their specific circumstances, like you shoot or the spiders on the screen, stuff like that. Next, I have my 3 different scenes. So the splash scene is the first scene, which is the attractor mode. So it is the scene, and then it has a controller that is always created that is just checking to see if the key's been pressed, the enter key's been pressed to move you on to the full game. And then it also has a HUD, which is called Splash HUD, which is connected to the font so that it knows what font to use. The Splash HUD just creates your high score list at the top, and then it also creates Atari at the bottom and all that jazz, and it creates the tiles that go behind all those letters so that everything interacts correctly during attractor mode. The second scene would be the level 1 scene, which is the regular kind of game scene. It has a level controller, which is checking for keys pressed for the home key, so that if you hit the home key, it will mute the game or unmute the game. I also have HUD writing, which is attached to the points manager, because the HUD writing needs to keep track of how many points there are, but I don't want to write all the time what the score is. So instead, I created a I'm your HUD pointer, a function that when I create the HUD, it calls this, telling this to find it, so that when points are added, it can tell the HUD to change the score at the top of the screen, so that it only changes the score when there's points added. It also has a pointer to the font so that it knows what font to use, so it draws all the HUD for the normal mode. And there's the high score screen, which just has a controller. I just put the HUD in this one, so it just draws the congratulations new high score, and then it's checking for text entered, so you can type in your initials, and it's checking for keys pressed, so when you hit enter, you submit that those initials you put in, or it's checking for backspace so you can delete if you type in the wrong letter, or you don't want to type in 3, I guess. So that's all just so you can type at the end. It has a pointer to font, of course, so that it has the right font. The font is just connected to the sprite sheet and the glyphs. It just creates your font from the sprite sheet and allows you to figure out which letters you want to use. It uses the flyweight system that we talked about that's in the demo. And I will talk about the controller and the blaster